That's right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, chicklets of all ages. Welcome to the Boar's Nest Open Mic Night. I got two great guys here with me. We got Chris Best, aka Commander Data, and Chris Parrish. How's it going, gentlemen?
Not bad.
Nice and
You?
loud.
Oh, not bad, not bad. I kind of like how you call me Commander Data and I do the salute thing every time I
Right?
get intro, right?
That's awesome. So, before we get started, I need to have a moment of everybody's time here. I kind of want to do something very special for Mr. Best. We lost a family member this week, ladies and gentlemen. A four-legged fur friend for Mr. Best. It was his best friend. So it's going to be a tough moment, Mr. Best. If you need to turn your camera off after this and your mic for a minute to gather yourself, please do. So we lost Mr. Skittles this week, and I just want to have a moment of silence. So if gentlemen, you can mute your mics while I do this, I would greatly appreciate that. Just to have that complete silence for this four-legged fur friend. So, Mr. Skittles in kitty heaven, this is for you, my friend. Just want to say thank you, Mr. Skittles, for being the greatest best friend you could have been. And I wish you nothing but the best of luck in kitty heaven chasing the mice.
And literally that's what he would be doing. He'd be chasing all kinds of vermin around the house.
Right?
Like not even a month ago, I had a bit of a fly infestation in my house, and he was chasing and killing every single one of them.
Yeah, he was a good cat.
Yeah. Always made appearances sitting up right here on the Monday Night Raw on the Raw Watch Along.
Yeah, that's kind of why I said, we lost a family member, because he may not have been my cat, but
he was always on the show,
sitting there, and he gave you that little bit of hope of he's a good cat. He was fluffy too.
Oh yeah. And it's actually fitting that you played Scottish music, because anytime I watched wrestling and when I watched Drew McIntyre or Roddy Piper, dude would perk up and watch.
Right. And just to let everybody know, on the YouTube side, that was a copyright-free version of the Scottish bagpipes. I did make sure that it was copyright-free before I played it. I was gonna play, but I had to make sure that I used something that wasn't copyright. It was a Scottish. They call it the death song. So when you die, in a true Scots, they play the bagpipes at your funeral for the night till midnight. The bagpipes never stop, and they're playing. It's a famous, like, that's singing in Baptist churches.
Amazing Grace.
Amazing Grace, yes.
Yeah.
They play that at your funeral until midnight when you're a Scotsman. And I was gonna play that, but I didn't want to get copyrighted for it, so we played the version that I grabbed.
They also play the bagpipe version of that song for whenever a military man passes away too.
It's the same. It's a respect thing, right?
Yeah.
And I know Mr. Skittles meant a lot to you, because you and him have been buddies for 13 years?
I had him, no word of a lie, he was 4 weeks old when I got him.
So there you go.
His entire life I had him, essentially.
That's good, though. But I wanted to dedicate this episode to Mr. Skittles, because he was a family member and deserves to be honored as such.
Yeah.
So may he rest in peace in kitty heaven. Would you like to say something, Parrish?
Yeah, I was just gonna translate that for him. Yeah, it was meow 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 meow.
And I guarantee you, if he were sitting on this side of me, because if he's not up here, he's right up on my hip, he would have perked up. Even though I'm wearing headphones, he still would have heard it.
Yeah, that cat heard everything we did. It was great. Great.
Pepper, who's on this side, heard it just now too.
Did she? She perked up
Yeah.
a bit, eh?
See that?
So just give her lots of love from all of us, my friend, because she's going to need it as much as you do.
She's been clinging to me all day, so
Yeah, she's missing her buddy. That's why. So, again, welcome to the open mic night with myself, Bubba, Chris Best, and Chris Parrish. And anybody else that decides to jump in on this, by all means, let us know. We can send you a link. You can jump in. That's why it's an open mic night. And I don't think we need the double Boar's Nest logos on the page. Like, holy cow. Feeling a little overwhelmed with the Boar's Nest. There we go. So please comment, interact, give us your thoughts and feelings about anything and everything. There were some things I wanted to talk about that I'm sure has been covered on Turnbuckle Talk and all the other damn podcasts and everything else that's going on around the world, but the Wyatt family has returned. And I don't know if you guys caught, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Mr. Best.
yeah.
But Uncle Howdy's wearing the same gloves that the Fiend wore. Did you catch what they said on them?
Said Bray Wyatt.
They said Bray Wyatt. Yeah. And on the top of his hat is a giant red circle, which again was a reference to one Bray Wyatt. And then there was a bunch of other innuendos, but like signs and different things to take in, like the big club that represent, as far as I'm concerned, one Brody Lee, or as we knew him, I can't remember his name.
Luke Harper.
Luke Harper, yes. So, and the Basham brothers.
Bludgeon
That was
Brothers.
cool. Bludgeon. Yeah, I've always called them the Basham brothers because it sounded cooler.
Well,
But
there
you know
wasn't
what I mean.
Basham Brothers. There was Doug
I
and
know there
Danny
was.
Basham.
I know.
But-
And then we had Sister Abigail there and all the other crew. Now,
Is Abby the Witch?
it's Abby the Witch? I thought she was
No, Sister
sister.
Abigail was the person that Bray Wyatt always like listened to, but
reference.
these characters were based off the Firefly Funhouse, and you had Abby the Witch, Huskus the Pig, Mercy the Buzzard, Rambling Rabbit.
Yes. Now, I didn't watch SmackDown. Did we get the 6th member?
No.
Or are we saying that Bray Wyatt is the 6th member via his lantern?
That's I'm going to agree with, because Parrish had brought this up before, but I think that Bray is the lantern, and that could also be said for Luke Harper as well. Both of them could very well be that.
So
sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No,
We're probably thinking the same thing. So go ahead.
Well, I had multiple theories. One, he could be the one who's featured as the lantern. Two, it may not be discovered yet who's the 6th, because maybe we're awaiting the 6th, because it is Wyatt 6. That was thing, but it's also not number 6 in the name. It is spelled SICKS. So there are no numbers. So we might not be worried about a number of people here.
We could just be overthinking it.
One thing that I said earlier on the Chris Parrish podcast was,
yes,
what if what we saw with their entrance was a one-time deal, and moving forward, they don't do the door, they don't do the blue light, but what we do get is a lantern, very reminiscent of Bray Wyatt, but instead of the white glow, we get the blue light to resemble Bray Wyatt and Brody Lee / Luke Harper all in one. So they're holding basically the souls of
Yeah, they're
the fallen Wyatts,
in that lantern.
because they were part of the original Wyatt family, right?
Well, yeah, I know
So
exactly.
if this
Yeah,
is Wyatt 6, it could be Wyatt's 6. It could be in the sense of like his visions that are sick, or
exactly. Yeah,
whatever the case may be. Like now instead of the number, it's the word
yeah, exactly.
that
Right.
sounds like the number. So we could just be looking at a completely different way of how these characters are portrayed, and then this could just be the
Exactly.
manifestation of what Bray Wyatt created.
Because we do know that Bray's brother, Bo Dallas, as we all know him, now Uncle Howdy, had a lot to do with the most recent things that Bray was doing as far as his storyline.
Mm-hmm.
And they talked all the time and they bounced the ideas off each other. So who's to say that in all those conversations that there was things agreed upon that, listen, we need to do this, 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 and this to get to this point in the storyline. Whether I'm here or not, whether you're here or not, this is how this is going to play out. Now, I've been doing a lot of thinking about this quote unquote Lantern and the two gentlemen from the Wyatt family that have passed away. What if, because we all know that one of the last matches Bray had, the Undertaker was involved in it. And at the end of that
The
match,
last match Bray Wyatt had was LA Knight.
yeah, and the Undertaker was involved in it because there was
No, it was.
whatever match it was there either there was the exact last or one of the last matches he had. Undertaker had walked up to him in the ring, whispered something in his ear, and left. And now that we know
That was
that
just
it was
a
said, they actually said something. Undertaker admitted to it.
Yeah.
He said, I whispered in his ear, the darkness is yours now. And now, is this a way of him taking this darkness? And who's to say that they don't use Bray as the sixth member, right? Okay, like we're going to say. And he's the manifestations that happen in the ring. Like, say the lights going out and someone getting beat up out of nowhere in the ring. Or 2-3 people getting beat up in the ring, laid out flat. The lights come back on. There's no one standing there, but these people are physically beaten up. Could we not see that happen where Luke Harper and Bray Wyatt are the manifestations of the darkness, quote unquote? And that's how they play off the sixth, quote unquote, member. And then the lantern appears, or, you know, something's just sat there in signification of the Wyatt family. Like, there's so many different avenues. I'm just kind of spitballing here, right? Like,
Yeah.
you know, the Undertaker had the darkness. Undertaker was the leader of the darkness. He controlled these powers. Who's to say now that these powers aren't Bray Wyatt and Luke Harper, aka Brody Lee, doing mischievous things without anybody knowing?
I mean, with these supernatural gimmicks, you gotta run the gamut with the amount of stuff that you can do with it, because basically the possibilities are endless with those kind of gimmicks, right?
Yeah, and I think that would be cool if that's how they played it.
Mm-hmm.
As, hey, listen, it's the lantern because it's our fallen members, like Parrish said, and they're getting out and wreaking havoc, and we're here to collect whatever souls they deem necessary to collect, or however they want to do it. I think it'd be cool if that's how they played it off. It's just one aspect, right? I mean, because there's so many different ways they can go with this storyline. None of us know exactly how they're going to go, where they're going to go, what's going to happen. And that is what makes this storyline super intriguing to me.
And that's you mentioned not overthinking things, Bubba. You got it with it when it comes to Uncle Howdy Bray Wyatt and all that. Because that was the whole point of Ray's promos, was to make you just think outside the box for what he had planned.
Right? And I know that the Undertaker, basically the 10-star general of the military, being WWE,
Mm-hmm.
saying and whispering in his ear, "The darkness is yours now." Bray's eyes went from it, and he was like, "Whoa, that was deep."
Because that was a legitimate sign of respect from Taker to him.
What, like, this is what I was telling my girlfriend, because I was explaining to her what's going on, because she used to watch wrestling and she's kind of iffy about it now. So I'm
Mhm.
like, I'm gonna pick the best storyline I can think of, and why not the whole Wyatt from family from beginning to from day one to now has been one of the most intriguing storylines,
Right.
because, like you said, it makes you think outside the box, really. And to continue and have that ring general basically say, "Listen, I don't need to have a match with you. I don't need to have a feud with you. You are the epitome of what I've been doing all these years. It's yours now. I am giving you the darkness that is the Undertaker and all the little, like, Mennonites and whatever they were called back in the day, him, Kane, all the, it's
Mhm.
yours. Continue it, live it, breathe it, whatever, it's yours." And he literally just turned and walked out of the ring. Like, what
Now,
a segment. Go ahead, Parrish.
well, I almost want to counteract when you say you don't want to overthink it, but in a weird way, you kind of are,
I am.
because you're assuming that it's going to be everything from Undertaker's past, all that. The
Oh,
one thing we
no,
know
it's
about
not.
Bray Wyatt is that no. But hear me out, because it's coming off like it's part of Undertaker's darkness that he's handing over to Bray, is what it sounds like. Now, I think the darkness is just that. It's just the darkness of WWE. So when it's like, okay, I am the Lord of Darkness as the Undertaker, right?
Yeah,
He's like,
okay.
Mhm.
I no longer am that person. You are now that. You're the one where the kids are just like, oh my God, that's scary. You're that personification of evil, that personification of dark within the
Okay.
WWE. It's basically like like it's almost like an imaginary championship title that he
Yes.
was darkness of WWE that he is now handing over to Bray, and it's probably has nothing to do with what Undertaker's version of darkness is, but what it does do, because the one thing we know Bray Wyatt, especially when he put on the Fiend stuff, he took things from Kane, like the red light, the mandible
Lose
claw
my.
from Mick Foley. He then took that eerie aspect of Finn Balor with the demon, right? Like he
Okay.
took different things from his victims and made it his own. We don't know what he could have done with that if he was going to take something from Undertaker's and make it his own.
Yeah.
But what we do know is that whatever version he was thinking of, that is what we're going to see. And we're going to see the mind of Bray through the, the performance of his brother, Joe Gacy, Nikki Cross, Dexter Loomis, Eric Rowan.
Yeah.
And we're using that through his creations from the Firefly Funhouse, which all in themselves are now evolved characters from the first time we saw them as puppets.
True. You are correct.
And
Yes.
and when we talk about where this goes, I have a theory that the only person of specific that we saw in that beatdown in gorilla position was Chad Gable, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
That was the only face you could, like, they literally zoomed in on his face.
Yep. And the one thing we know earlier in that show, Monday Night Raw, was that Otis, Maxine, and Tozawa left Chad Gable. Now, I implore people to go back and watch that segment because in the locker of one of those, you saw a rambling rabbit in one of the lockers. And it was foreshadowing at its very best, but not giving it away.
I didn't
And
even see it.
I have a theory that Chad Gable just absolute tortured what people considered to be a family, and he pushed it away, just like how all these characters are feeling that they are family that was brought together by people who pushed them away or treated them horribly. Now, when you look and you actually take the time, yeah, I have thought about this. When you look at
Wow.
Dexter Loomis, his family was the way, right? He was a
Right.
part of a marriage that Indy Hartwell has barely even mentioned him now. Candice LeRae does not mention him. Johnny Gargano, Austin Theory do not mention him. Joe Gacy, his two brothers in the Grizzled Young Veterans, left WWE. Ava Raine went her own route. He lost his family by doing nothing really wrong. And then you look at someone like Eric Rowan, who was forgotten because he was released, and the entire world, up until Bray's passing, people started talking about again, connecting all these things. So when he was down in his very worst, who was saying on a stream, I wonder who's going to pick up Eric Rowan? No one. He was the forgotten one of that bunch. And then we go to Nikki Cross, whose family, insanity, left her. Bit by bit, piece by piece, they went away to the point where she was the lone survivor. She had nobody. And just when she thought she had a friend, guess what happened to Alexa Bliss?
Yeah, right.
Bray Wyatt pulled her in. So Bray Wyatt, in Ascension, pulled Nikki Cross in as well because perhaps the Lily doll was really Alexa Bliss's personification of a Nikki Cross because that now was her new best friend. Therefore, Nikki Cross was already a part of this well before we know. So in all people's backstories connects them back to why they are together. And now, as a unit, they are targeting people who don't treat family properly because they are end result of what happens when you don't.
My head just exploded, dude. Because
I haven't even
other
opened
thing
up a
about-
beer yet.
Sorry, go ahead, Best.
Here's the other thing about Nikki Cross. Remember when she was walking around almost in a zombie-like state? What if that was Uncle Howdy getting to her?
Oh, and here's another thing too, though. Remember when Dexter Loomis drew a photo of what he thought his family was? And they
Yes.
had Nikki Cross in the background, and then they saw Nikki Cross in there. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah.
Dude, I forgot all about that.
And how ironic is it now that they are two people who are portraying Bray Wyatt's personifications in the Wyatt Six?
Oh my god.
Maybe
Dude, I never
then
thought of that.
we started seeing how those two were being connected before our very eyes. Because the one thing Bray Wyatt was very good at was always doing things specific. Because even during his NXT run, we saw how they years later connected to what he was doing at that very moment.
Yeah.
That's the one thing that I've always got and has always taken away from Bray was he didn't do stuff just to do it. There was a reason behind what he was doing, why he was doing it, when he was doing it, and how he was doing it. That's crazy, dude. Now I'm connecting all these dots. Like my head's just, yeah. Wow.
It's amazing what happens when you watch a show where they actually treat you and they give you respect for being a longtime fan,
Yeah,
you get the confidence to actually say it out loud.
Right.
that's what long-term booking gets you.
Right? It's called dedication to your workers and the people that are there to make your product better. Like, thank you, Triple H. I know it started back in the Vince era, but at least Vince was smart enough to say, listen, this guy's got something. Let's roll with it.
Vince also was smart and gave Wyatt complete control over what his character did.
Well, he kind of had to, though, for Bray to do how he wanted to, like, put all these puzzle pieces together. He had to,
Hmm.
because it wouldn't have worked if he didn't. If Vince had I know he had a little bit to do with some of the stuff, but if he would have had full control over that, I don't think it would have been as good as it is or as it was. If that makes any sense, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Vince might have been a little loopy there at the end, but he still had the common sense to know this guy's got something. I can see it in him. I had that when I was younger. So why not give him the shot? It was either make it or break it. You either made it, Bray, or guess what? You're not going to be here very long. I'm sure is what was said. But again, I wasn't there. I don't know. But again, that's what I would think. If you want full control, you want all this, you want that, with your I's dotted and your T's crossed and blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, you're getting so long to make this work. If you can't make it work, then we're done with you. We're not going to waste money on things that aren't going to work, right?
Well, just also take back on like what he wasn't. He wasn't a body guy, and that's where him always getting that backlash about, oh, you don't look like a wrestler, and therefore
Yep.
he created Huskus the pig,
Mhm.
right? And that's when he did the Muscle Man dance like song with
Yeah.
Huskus the pig, right? And then his whole
Yeah.
thing was that he always talked too much on promos. He rambled, and that's where Rambling Rabbit was born. And then obviously Abby the Witch was based off Sister Abigail and
Yeah.
things like and in that essence.
Yeah.
And then we got Mercy the Buzzard, who was kind of a tortured soul like Bray. Mercy being named because Waylon Mercy was always an inspiration to Bray Wyatt. That's why he did that version of Robert De Niro's character in Cape Fear, because so did Waylon Mercy.
Yeah.
Right.
And Mercy was just not only a name that fit, it was also the name of inspiration.
Yeah.
Just like, I mean, we all looked at the name Bray Wyatt. Wyatt has come from the Wyatt Earp. That is how that name was created.
Nice. Yes.
And Bray was the name of a long-term friend that he had when he was a child.
Isn't that cool how things just all make sense once you stop, take yourself out of the situation and look at it and analyze all the detail? You're just like, holy smokes. Brain just exploded.
Now, one of the things I actually can respect about Bray Wyatt is when he came up with the character, he actually did go to Dan Spivey, who is Waylon Mercy, and got tips on how to do the character with him.
Mhm.
Right? Like, isn't that smart? Like, that's just,
Well,
it's
it's method acting, right? Like it's doing your homework, making sure
yeah.
that if you're going to play a part, you're very equipped with not just how the part's supposed to be done, but the intricacies of how he walks, how he talks, why he does what he does, and does he have a little? Hey, maybe he has a little twitch when he uses his left leg. I'm going to install that as well. Like little things that he has. And then all of a sudden now you have something that catches an audience, and all you have to do is reel them in with the how I got this. And now all of a sudden there's your backstory.
Right.
Because just because you have all these things doesn't, and that's your first impression. You go out and you see a kid who is deformed, or you see something, your first instinct is understanding that, okay, there's something that happened there.
Yeah.
But
100%.
in order to feel that sympathy, you learn what happened and you feel sympathetic because of it.
Yeah.
Whether it's a condition, whether it's an illness, whether it was an accident, things like that.
Oh, exactly.
Right? Like it's no different from real life than it is from, visual art, like pro wrestling can be.
Oh, 100%. We've all been on. You're the only active guy in professional wrestling in this group right now. So
If you count what I do active right now.
but still, like
I gotta
I've
get booked
been
to be active.
right. I've been catching some of your old stuff that's online, and it's like, dude can wrestle. He can tell his story. He can run his mouth when it needs to be run, and it's not just being run for no reason. It's being run to make a point, and it's not stupid points. It's a legit point that you're making. Like, listen, you're stupid because you're out there and I'm in here. You know, who's really the dumb one? Kind of thing. You know how to pick certain people out of the crowd that aren't going to get like stupid about stuff.
Mhm.
Like some people did at a show I was at. I literally had to run out of the building because I thought I was going to get killed. But you can pick and choose, and you can interact differently with the adults in the crowd than you do with the children in the crowd. You're not as aggressive with the kid. You're just aggressive enough to get that, I hate you. You're so mean. I don't like you. And you get that reaction that you're looking for, which is kind of what Bray has done all his career. Is he knows how to pick and choose the right people to focus on and get the reaction out of them, because then once they react, everybody around them starts reacting, and then it just gets the whole play. Like, look at the Fireflies, for instance. That started out 2, 3, 4, 5 people doing it, and now it's the whole damn audience does it.
Yep.
Like, I remember back when it was like I was sitting at home, I see one person, I'm like, what are they doing? And then the announcer was like, your commentator was like, oh, that looks like a firefly, and then or whatever, how that went, and it was just, yeah, dude, that's really cool. And I started doing it at home with my phone because
Now,
he just drew you in. You were
Mhm.
part of the crowd, even though you weren't there.
Now there's actually a piece of the Undertaker that Bray Wyatt has taken, because prior to the Fireflies, the Undertaker had that, but it was the creatures of the night, and instead of cell phones, it was lighters.
Yeah, that was way
But-
back in the day. You just aged yourself.
But he was doing that well before that moment with the Undertaker. But like in a way, yes, it is a spawn off.
It's a spin-off of it. Yeah,
But
it's just
like-
a
Yeah.
modern day.
Like it was done well before that conversation that Bubba alluded to. Which,
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
by the way, Bubba, that had something to do. So there's a segment between Bray and LA Knight,
Okay.
and LA Knight he was about to get chokeslammed by the Undertaker, and then Undertaker then passed him over to the Fiend, who hit him with Sister Abigail, and that's what then created that moment. It was not
Okay.
a match; it was just an in-ring segment.
I just
Yeah.
I wasn't sure how.
I
just knew it
know
happened.
I know this very vividly because I was at the Royal Rumble in San Antonio, which was Bray Wyatt's last televised
Official
match.
televised. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for clarifying. I appreciate that, because
Right.
I was thinking, how did that happen? But yeah, no, it was a really cool moment, period. And before he had passed away, he did an interview, and he literally told people there was nothing said that anybody else needs to know. It was between him and I'm taking it to my grave.
Mm-hmm.
Which, and I don't want to say ironically, but I don't know. You don't even know. It was just unfortunate that that's literally what happened. But again, from what I heard, Undertaker, before doing an interview and being asked the same question after Bray had passed away, he got permission to do it. Okay.
Yeah, I believe he went to JoJo to talk about that.
Yes. And she had gave him permission to share it because it was okay. That's cool, dude. Yeah, I remember that now.
Yeah, that was the
That's your
Mountain Dew Pitch
pictures,
Black
yeah.
match.
But regardless, I am looking forward to
And then this, if I can actually,
It's too bright.
I know I'm going to try to spawn off that. And
And your phone's turned down the brightness. I almost turned mine right off. To be
well, the
honest.
funny thing is that's not even my phone being bright. That's just the video.
Oh wow!
Because if I'll turn it completely off, but that it's in itself.
Oh, look at that! Look at all of that. What? Yeah, and it's brightening up now because your phone, the camera is reading it as a bright light instead of. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy, dude. Right, and that's a dark match, and that's what's lighting up.
No, that was at the Royal Rumble.
Oh, the Royal Rumble. Okay.
Yeah.
Regardless.
Oh, and see, and you get right in the.
Oh wow!
Thing.
Dude, that's insane.
So
that just. Yeah, real quick though, before you get going here, Mr.
Yeah.
West. I'm looking forward to where his brother is taking this storyline with him in it.
I'll be right back, guys.
Yeah, go do your thing, bro. I'm looking forward to how this goes, honestly.
Oh yeah. Me too, 110%, because I loved everything from both Bray and Bo Dallas, Uncle Howdy. I even loved Uncle Howdy when he was Bo Dallas. I will flat out admit that because I've been a fan of Mike Rotunda, their father, since then. So when I found out that they were coming into the business, I'm like, well, I hope they carry the wrestling pedigree that his dad had.
Did.
They did.
Oh, 100%. Even Bray is a bigger dude. I was like, holy, boy can move.
He moved just like his dad did.
So, yeah, I know they're going to do honor and respect by the Bray Wyatt brand and name. I know they are. There's no way that his brother's going to allow anything stupid to happen. And honestly, Triple H is behind this 100%, and he feels the same way.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you know that in the end, Bo Dallas has the final say in what happens in the storyline because he's got it set up the same way that his brother did.
Yeah. I actually have another story about Skittles that everybody would enjoy, and it's related to Bray Wyatt, actually.
Well, let's hear
it. Bray, my cats are right into horror films, just as I am. So anytime I watch like Nightmare on Elm Street, they're right up there. They're watching it with me, you know? And when Bray debuted as the Fiend, no word of a lie, my cats were sitting there 2 feet in front of the TV, just looking up and just watching in awe as he came to the ring.
I honestly think we were all the same way.
Yeah.
We were right there with Skittles and your other cat 100% going, what am I watching?
I like not even a week ago, I literally went back and watched that moment, that entrance. I didn't watch the entire match. It was him and Finn Balor that night, but
yeah. It's moments like that you need to go back and just, dude, that was a really cool moment that my cat did that. Like, really? And some people are like, oh, cats are stupid. All they do is lay around and lick themselves and chase a ball or a mouse. No, cats are more than that. Cats are very intelligent. They're very, they have a very big personality. And yeah, they do watch TV. Don't let anybody tell you any different. They watch TV. They know what's going on.
Dude, I got to send you a picture of Pepper watching Ninja Turtles 3 one of these days. She sat there for the entire hour and a half watching it.
I don't doubt it, dude. And Ninja Turtles 3, what a great movie. The original one?
Yeah.
Epic. Hands down epicness. Yeah, there's Mr. Pepper. Oh, my good God. Wow.
I was actually just going to point out, now that we've got the Wyatt 6 back, it makes me happy knowing that there's going to be more Bray Wyatt merch put out there.
Yeah, I'm definitely in search of a t-shirt or something of just him. And then I'm going to have to get another one of what's going on now. Because when I met Eric Rowan, when he came here to town with the CWE, dude freaked me out because I forgot I was wearing the Brody Lee Forever t-shirt.
Right.
Never thought nothing of it. I just threw on a t-shirt, grab my gear and because I was commentating that show with Carl, and he shook. Dude, I thought he was gonna take my hand. Like he was. Thank you for wearing the T-shirt. It's so cool. I appreciate that. And you know, hey, thanks for doing what you're doing at the show. He was a great guy. But yeah, I'm glad he is back in the WWE doing what he loves to do with the people he loves to do it with. Like, it's just awesome. I can't wait. I can't wait to see what they're gonna do. I feel like kayfabe is totally alive again. You know, like because nobody has an idea what's going on other than I would assume Triple H, obviously, and Uncle Howdy, and the people involved right there. Like, and if that's all the people that know, that is awesome, because then nobody knows what's going to happen as far as the Wyatt family now.
Right.
Who are they going after? Where are they going to come out in next and freak everybody out? I'm so excited for it. I can't wait. What's the clicky?
He's playing a video game.
Oh, are you? He just put it on his lap. Dick.
Do you want to see what's on my lap?
No. No. I believe there is nothing there. Never mind. I retract that prior statement. Hot dog, hot diggity dog. We're going to the Mickey Mouse Playhouse. I'm just messing around.
Let him in.
Right? I haven't watched that show in a little. It's been a hot minute. My kid watches a lot of like Paw Patrol. There's another one, PJ Mask, and what else? There's another one she watches all the time.
Now, if they're fans of Paw Patrol, that means they have to be fans of Raw Patrol, right?
She is.
There you go.
She watches us every Monday.
Oh yeah.
Until it's her bedtime. But it's been a crazy hectic week for me. I worked Thursday, Friday, Saturday, like literally all day Saturday, 12-hour shift. I'm not a day guy. I'm the night guy. Okay. I'm a night crew guy.
I saw on YouTube all the boats that came in that you had to work with.
I'm just like, dude. And it's a part boat. So what that means is it's big giant pieces of like the new furnace they're putting in. The what do they call it? The arc furnace.
Yeah.
So it's parts for that. They don't even have the shell completely done yet, like the building itself that this thing's going in. But they got all the equipment there, everything they need to put this thing together now. And it is scattered everywhere in the plant. Anywhere there's an open spot, there's parts there. I love my job. I don't know if I've ever explained to people what I do. I'm a truck driver. I drive transport. And there's a steel plant here where I live. And I go into the plant and I move. It's not pipe. It's just a bar. What are they? There's a certain name they call it. It's just, I call it a bar. And I take that. They take it off the boat and put it on my trailer, and I drive it to where it needs to go within the plant, and or the tube mill, which is right in front of the plant. Because sometimes you got to deliver directly right into the tube mill.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. And if you can't back up in the dark, you're screwed. But thankfully, I have big spotlights on my truck. I got 4 of them, 2 on either side and 2 on the roof. And just click a little switch and it lights it up like I'm a UFO. I had one guy come out of the building and go, and he went back inside. Didn't even light. He pulled his smoke out of his mouth and put it back in his pack and went inside. It was funny, but it's a job that I've wanted to do since I was a little kid. And just before COVID happened, I got my license. So they were hurting for drivers because now all this stuff's got to be moved now. and I was driving during COVID. So nobody on the highways. The only people that were out were the MTO and police. That was it.
I was just thinking to myself, Bubba, I kind of wish you were with us last Saturday because we were talking to Robin, and he's
Wow.
going for his license now.
Good for him. If he needs help getting a job, I will definitely help him and direct him in the right spot
Yeah.
for sure. His kids got to be going to college or something now, no?
With Trin?
Yeah, Trin. I haven't seen that girl since she was little, so I don't know.
I saw it last time I saw her was like 6-7 years ago. So yeah, I think she's just
Like just getting out of high school, just getting into college kind of
going
thing.
just going to high school or middle of high school. I don't know. I got to talk to Jasmine.
She needs to show up at one of the shows. That would be epic.
Yeah.
I don't think she's quite into it like she was back in the day because,
She used to go to all the shows.
dude, she was the first person I picked on as a heel.
Me too, actually. Because it was that whole thing, like when you're a heel and it's your first time, it's your first show. I was told to find somebody you know in the crowd and play off that, and she was sitting ringside. So,
Dude, she always sat ringside. And that girl booed me so hard when I came out
yeah,
because literally the only reason I was coming out was to basically talk smack about the character her dad was playing.
mm-hmm.
And she was that guy's number one fan. She, you know, that's her favorite wrestler. So me coming out and talking smack about this character wasn't, she didn't want nothing to do with it. I got out of the ring, ripped up a big banner she had made for said character, and continued to get booed out of the building. So as a heel, I'm going in the back. I'm going, yes. I pulled that one off because I got the response I wanted. It wasn't crickets. Like there was people throwing stuff at me. Yeah,
I'll never forget one of the Sioux area wrestling shows we were doing. I was up in the production area with the hard cam, and Kevin is doing the audio as he always did.
Yeah.
And come time for Robin's match, and Kevin just goes up to me. He's like, "Who's that loud fan?" I'm like, "Dude, look who's in the ring." And he's like, "Oh, yeah, okay."
yeah. It takes you. You're like, why? Why is that person so being? Because you don't really look. You're just like,
Yeah.
Why is that person being so crazy? There's nothing going on right now. Well, it was his daughter. That's why, number one.
Yeah.
And no matter who came out, she would either be booing you or cheering you. And it's not too often that she booed the heel, but
when it came to Hexam, whenever Hexam came out,
dude, he was the number one heel in that brand as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Like I was trying to get to that point, and that one night I successfully got more reaction out of the crowd than he did. So I was happy. Now I know Mr. Parrish plays in 2 different companies in his region.
One.
Just one now?
Yeah.
Is this the one where you're the heel?
Yes.
Okay. So you've been normally like the baby face, the good guy, right? In the one program.
So when it comes to being in town, I've been a bit like in Edmonton. I've been a babyface for a lot longer than I probably wanted to be. Now, I don't hate being a babyface. In fact, I love being a babyface. There's a lot of fun being a babyface. I think a lot of people just don't know how to be a good babyface.
True. I would have no idea.
You can get away with a lot of the same stuff as a babyface. You just have to direct it to your heel, and you have to then proceed to know your audience and how to cater to them. That's the real big difference, because now you're getting cheered based on the stuff you do instead of being hated. So how
Yeah.
do you make them feel good about what you do? I was telling this to a couple guys in the back at my last show. And
There
I
you go.
said, do you know why? Or do you know what our job is? And they go out and have a good match. And I was like, oh, that is the expectation and hope from our fans and from
Right.
our individual. We want to have good matches because we think that is how we do our job. But that's not. Our job is to entertain the fans who pay to see the show. We are performers. We are entertainers.
Yeah.
Regardless of how you want to look at it. Wrestlers, performers, entertainers, whatever
Whatever.
the term is. Our job is to make our audience feel good. Or our job is to give our audience a show. And if I'm a baby face, my job is to have them want to cheer me, have them get sad when I'm getting beat up, have them getting upset when I get screwed over, having them happy when I fight back, when I win, when I triumph. Make them feel based on how I perform. And that is the same thing as a heel.
Yeah, exactly the same thing. Just we're opposite. We're just trying to get them to boo and hate us more,
and
understand this baby face more.
If you asked me this 20 years ago when I started,
yep,
God forbid if I would know that. Have no idea.
No,
right? That is a 20-year experienced answer right there, because our job is to entertain the audience.
100%.
But the fact that when people are like, oh, there's more freedom in being a heel, to an extent, yes. To an extent, yes. There's more freedom because it's easier to get people to hate you than it is to get people to like you, and that is real on the wrestling stage or in real life, right? It is more relatable to be an asshole than to be a saint.
I'm gonna do something I've never done on camera. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
This is how easy it was for me to get people to hate me. I didn't even have to say a word. I just had to walk through the curtain. Okay. I don't know if anybody knows who Danny Duggan is.
I'm just looking at you too.
Right? But Danny Duggan comes out waving the American flag. Right?
Danny Duggan gets booed before he even walks out.
Well, because he takes half an hour to come out.
He does.
I'm a heel and it pisses me off. But this is the mask I would wear. Okay. Now, no disrespect by said flag. It's just it represents the Dukes of Hazzard to me. And I know this flag is not very well received by certain individuals. You're a snowflake, get over it. It's just a flag. But I would wear this flying said flag when I came out. Dude, I didn't have to try to be a heel. I was already a heel walking through you know what I mean? And I knew my role was to get them to hate me as much as possible and love everything the babyface did to me. Sell it as best as you can sell it to make him look better. Because 90% of the baby faces that I had to face were smaller than me. I was a big dude. I was pushing 300 pounds back then at 5'8". Not a big guy, but I fought like a big guy because I was a heel. And I made these baby faces look better. The fans loved them. They were cheering them twice as loud as the last match. You know, at that point, I was probably green like no other. So I would say back then, yeah, my job is to get the biggest reaction and have the best match of the night and be done with it. Which at this point, we all know is complete BS. The point of your match is like Parrish had explained to us. This, and this need to happen for this, and this to happen to get a good reaction. I understand. I understand that now. Like if I could physically get back into a ring and have like one last match, I would. In a heartbeat, you couldn't keep me out of that ring. But physical issues, health issues dictate that if I get back in that ring, I'm not coming out alive. Period. You know what I mean? Like, it's just my health has got to that point where I couldn't even take a kendo stick to the back right now. I couldn't take a knife edge chop to the chest. Like, I would die.
Mm-hmm.
So again, I can hope and dream, but I lived through going to said shows and being that super fan now. And you best you witnessed that the last show that I went to.
Yep.
I literally on the spot was asked by the champion, "Can you do this for me?" Cool, yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
Like, who has a guy with that kind of experience in Mantelo? And he just, hey, dude, I seen you here last time. You're right into the show. Let's
That's
do
who I
it.
beat for this title, by the way.
Yeah.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, high five.
Yeah.
To the camera, high five. There you
He's my
go.
jobber.
He's a great. He's my job. Jesus. Thanks, dude. I appreciate that. But he's a great guy. He's a great champion for them because he carries the title with such dignity and respect as a babyface. I would love to get in the ring with the guy. I'm sure he's great and phenomenal in the ring with somebody. But to be asked, hey, dude, can I use, like, I'm just gonna go like this to you and just give me the boot. Just give me the boot. The guy's gonna sell it worth $1 million. You know, like, just give me the boot. And you see, I just put the foot up there, and I had my biker boots on, and that dude took that. He took it. Like, there was a print of my boot on this guy's forehead for probably a good hour.
Oh yeah, because I saw AJ afterwards, and I saw the.
You can see the tread marks.
Yeah. Because he came up to shake my hand afterwards to say, hey, like, thank you for doing what you're doing. And I'm like,
yeah,
thank you for taking the boot from my friend.
Right? Like, he took it and took it good. Like, I wasn't expecting him to, like, throw himself into my foot and use his face to stop himself. And he was a, what, like 300-400 pound guy? Like, and not short by no means. And I can't hold my foot up high because I'm crippled. Dude, if he wasn't such a heel, I would have walked over and been like, bro, that was epic.
I gotta say though, from watching that show and looking at you and OMD sitting together, it was like a tale of two stories. There was you being all excited, and then there's OMD being all stoic and just not really reacting to anything that was going on around him.
It was yeah, two opposite ends of the spectrum as far as, like, I've just got to the point I don't care what anybody thinks. And I had two kids sitting beside me, so I got ADHD. So any sort of energy influx, I feed off that.
Mm-hmm.
And then my shit kicks in and I get all excited. And that's really what happened. These two children and their mother, who I actually know and I was talking to, they were all excited. And they kept looking at me for reaction, right? So I'm, like that, that hurt. Oh, and these two little kids are freaking out. So it was a nice energy, and I fed off that, and it just made it so much fun.
I mean, that entire show was hot. The crowd was just hot for everything that happened.
Again, I think the venue makes the difference.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel so like you're being watched. Don't touch anything you're not supposed to touch, and like, calm down. It's a wrestling show. It's not the UFC gone wild. Like, we're gonna fight anywhere and everywhere. I mean, mind you, they kind of did, but
I was trying to remember something that was said at the last show. Because the photographer who used to do the photography at the Sue Blaster shows, he wasn't at the first show with that we did at the Queen of Hearts Club there.
Yeah, I think he was pre-booked for something else though.
He because him and I were talking afterwards. He's like, I totally missed that last show. I had to do it. I had other obligations. And the first thing he said to me was like, I friggin' love this venue. This is like the perfect wrestling venue.
It is 100% hands down. And what makes the difference? The video screens.
Yeah.
to me, that makes it that much more professional, that much more legit. It's not just a, back country, we're not going to mention names, but WSA's in there. It just felt very like we're backyard wrestlers just putting on a show for the shit and giggle of it.
Mm-hmm.
No storyline, no reason or rhyme, no. At least in the CWE, I've missed a couple shows and I've caught the storyline, and I was like, okay, that's what's going on.
Yeah. So to talk about the, I'm just going to say it, Sioux Area Wrestling. Robin and I did try to get a video Titantron thing going, but we couldn't get his projector to properly work.
Yeah. Again, not your fault.
Yeah.
Not your fault. I mean, if it would have been there, it would have made it more legit.
Yeah.
But it just seemed like there was no effort put into, okay, well, because that's not working, let's get one that's going to work, or find one that's going to work, or figure something out.
Well, that's the other thing too, is we discovered on the day of the show that we couldn't get it to work.
No, but I mean, for the future.
Yeah.
It didn't have to be that moment. Okay, so that idea gets scrapped for that show. No big deal, boys. Sorry. Technical errors. It happens.
Yeah.
But it was never tried again or again or again to get it to try to be something, instead of just being, well, it didn't work this time, so forget it.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's screwed. You know what? Let's figure out why it's not working. Okay, so next time we'll find one that's going to work. We'll show up earlier, get the thing working, and then we can just slide it into place.
Yeah.
It was just, logic wasn't there for me, and it kind of killed it for me.
Well, sometimes logic wasn't there for the promoter to begin with, so
I'm not saying that myself, but I'm not going to disagree with you.
Yeah. He was a good guy, but
yes.
Yeah.
And not
That's
paying
like
your local
ultimate,
talent pisses me off.
He sucks at what he does. It's like, well, we're not going to say anything bad because he's a good guy.
Right? Cover our asses. But
yeah.
No, it was the thing that pissed me off was I did security for free. I did wrestling for free. Like, not even a pat on the back. Hey, thanks for doing such a great job. I appreciate it. I'll remember that. Nothing.
Yeah. How about the fact that Kevin and I had to bring all our own equipment for video and audio
because he was cheap. He couldn't afford it. He could barely afford the titles.
Wrestlers don't like the word cheap. We're frugal.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I mean, actually, I'm not going to say that.
It's just, yeah. It was what it was. Things were done. People tried to help, and more stupid things were done, and it died.
Yeah.
A group tried to save it, and because we weren't moving at his pace to get things done, it got literally scrapped.
Dude, sometimes we were moving faster than him because Vinny and I would we'd go over to Sean's house, and me, him, and Sean would sit there throughout the night just hashing out ideas for stories,
that never got used.
Yeah.
Oh, we don't need stories because it's wrestling. They'll take what they take, and they're gonna like it. Well, you know what? That's why you lost the venue we were at for our shows and had to do it literally in a church, basically.
Yeah.
Coming off the stage for the church, like, brutal.
I actually thought that was a pretty cool little setup, though.
If it would have been wider, it would have been better. Yes. Yeah, because you need the same amount of seats in front as you do to the left and to the right of the ring.
Yeah.
One row against the wall, like, really? I personally think it was pointless myself. But it was nice to have somewhere inside to wrestle that wasn't outside, Which was completely illegal, by the way. I found that out.
To wrestle outside?
No, to erect a temporary structure around and above your ring, and then proceed to heat tarped structure with propane jet heaters.
Why does that not surprise me that he did that?
What surprises me is nobody got burnt.
Yeah.
You know how many times
Well,
I fell out of the ring and missed it by like,
missed it by that much.
yeah, by this,
Yeah.
like I felt the heat on my chest and my hair is going, oh my God, no, we're going to die. No, it's okay, boys. We're still good. But yeah, dude, I missed the flame or the heater thing itself by inches. You know what I mean? Like it was scary stuff. But that being said, it was nice because that's where I got into actual professional wrestling. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, exactly. The one guy that could run an actual promotion.
And the one guy who has tried to run a promotion, because I was involved in helping him try to run that.
There was a lot of us, bro. There was. I was this close to actually getting the ring, and I got stuck at work because of an accident on the highway.
Yeah.
My bad.
I'm like, bro, I can get you the money. Just keep the ring where it is. We'll get it sorted out. You just got to give me a minute. Like, it's not just me involved in this. There's several of us that are working together.
And this was back when Bucky had the ring.
No, that wasn't. That was
Oh.
before my time.
Yeah.
With Carl. That was before me. These guys did that. I'm talking. When it died, we tried to buy the ring and start a company.
Yeah.
With here's the thing: we had Carl, myself, and a couple of unnamed sponsors because we didn't want to name these people because it was just a matter of things needed to get rolling before everybody was announced. You know what I mean? Like the ownership of the new whatever the name Carl and I came up with and the logo and all that stuff. It was more Carl came up with the name because it just popped in his head. But yeah, we wanted to get all this, everything going, get all the talent, get a couple shows under our belts, and then be like, hey, just to let everybody know, this is the management of this company. It's not just Carl and Bubba.
Yeah.
It's blah, 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 blah. And oh yeah, by the way, our main sponsor, which is on the new ring apron, and have the new ring apron fall down with the sponsor names and everybody that, puts the money in for it, it was, and then, yeah, that one little hiccup and he went completely bipolar and literally took the ring to a scrapyard and had it torched down. Yeah, dude, I had a professional welder lined up to assess the quality of the welds on the ring, and if they weren't good, to fix them. If the ring needed new steel, order it. I'll pay for it. I personally was going to pay to have that ring completely certified, basically. But I mean, you know what? It wasn't meant to be, and the higher power had a different idea for her. But do not get me wrong. If my ass gets a hold of a ring, some way, somehow, some shape, some form, you best believe that Carl Carafelt and said people are going to be getting a phone call. Hey, we still have the paperwork. We still have all the breakdown on how things need to work as far as the front office, and said getting wrestlers booked and in our ring. It's all still saved right here. I actually have paperwork. I typed some of it up. But you best believe that the Boar's Nest is going to be all over that shit.
Yeah. When
Along with Turnbuckle Studios.
when myself, Carl, and Carl's ex-wife were going to do it, we had a building too. We had a building.
Yes.
We were in line to get Bucky's ring.
Yep.
It was going to be one of the schools downtown. I can't remember which one.
Oh,
It's not there anymore. I think they tore it down.
yeah, I was gonna say there was one that I can picture, but it's not there anymore. That would have been a perfect building too, because that gym was mint.
Well, that was the plan, was we were going to turn it basically into what WWE has done with the PC.
Yeah, that's the exact idea. Your shows are in this section, and you have another ring eventually, obviously, in another part of the building where you get to run through your program or train, and blah blah blah. Yeah, it's the plan is completely laid out, bro. Like we just need a ring and a building, and some money to upgrade said building. But regardless, it wasn't meant to be at that point in time. Would I love to get a ring and have the opportunity to run said business here in the Sioux and have CWE come in and use our equipment and just leave theirs packed? Say, hey, listen, you want to put a show on coming through the Sioux? Guess what? Here's a ring. Here's the venue. Here is everything you need as far as computer equipment. Talk to Commander Data. He got that shit handled and on lockdown. And there's our locker room. Go nuts. Like, use whatever you want. What is that? Sukasa, Mikasa, Sukasa?
Yeah.
How's that go? Yeah, that's exactly what I'd tell the gentleman that runs the CWE. 100%. Come on in. You want a couple of jobbers? Hey, we got guys here. We put a show on all the time. Like, don't tell me that a company that travels all of Canada is going to say, no, we don't want to use your ring or your venue or nothing because we don't want to make profit. We're going to go spend money on blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? No, the dude ain't dumb. If he can come in and use a building that's already set up, has locker rooms, has a little place where everybody can crash and have a nap if they need one. You know what I mean? Like, and on top of that, hey, we only want the ability of one or two of our wrestlers being involved in your show, if that's okay. Just to bring in our fans as well, not just other people that are outside the wrestling going, ooh, there's a big company coming in. I want to check it out. I mean, shit, I'd even be like, Parrish, tickets paid for, jump on a plane, let's go.
Yeah.
Hey, you want to bring your son and your wife? Cool. Here's the other 2 tickets.
Okay, as long as the flight's paid off. Because we all know flights in Canada aren't cheap.
No, they're not. But if I'm gonna run a company and I want you to come from where you are, hey, go to this gate. They'll have your ticket ready for you. All you need to do is present your ID so that they can match the names and whatever information I tell them. Tell me you ain't coming.
Depends on the day. I mean, that's also business, conversations that have to happen. But yeah. I mean, it all
you know what I'm saying? But when it comes down to the brass tacks, number one, your ticket's paid for, okay? Number 2, I'm gonna pay you to be here. And hey, you want a place to sleep? Oh, I got a place for you to sleep too. You know what I'm saying? If I'm getting everything paid for and it's a new city I haven't been to before, sure, I'll come check out your town. Why not? And hey, if I really like and how business is handled, I just might come by another time. Oh, and don't worry about that ticket. I'm already on my way over there. Like, as a wrestler, that's what I would say. Yeah, sure. I'll come check out whatever you want to do. Let's have fun because I get to wrestle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's pretty much back in 2001, and I can't even believe I remember this, but that's basically what King Kong Bundy had told me about the way he used to travel. And I actually said to him, I'm like, Bundy, you've been here before. He's like, have I?
He doesn't even remember.
I'm like, yeah, back in '94, you came through here with the WWF and you had a match against Doink. He's like, oh, I don't even remember that.
because it was so insignificant to him.
Yeah.
Because how many
How many shows
places-
has he done that in that year alone, right?
Right, but yeah, you're traveling all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You're literally going from point A to point B to point B to point whatever to 1, 2, 3, skip a few. It becomes a blur, really, when you're that busy.
Yeah.
All you know is my storyline is this: I am wrestling said person, and this is how the match is supposed to go. How we get there is blah, ABC 1, 2, 3. This is how
Yeah.
it's got to go. And that's all you think. You just think wrestling, you eat wrestling, you sleep wrestling, you're peeing and pooping wrestling at this point.
Yeah.
I know
And
Parrish. I don't know if Parrish has ever had to travel like that, where it's literally one show, bang, 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 bang. But I'm sure he gets the concept of, dude, I have to travel and it sucks.
It varies because like I've done the Northern Tour with Tony Condello, where you're you're doing that. But I mean, obviously there are times where you stay night because you're doing a double shot. I've traveled, like I've wrestled in Vegas, so like that's something I've been able to do with Vendetta Pro Wrestling.
There you go.
And that was through the Cauliflower Rally Club, and that's a story for a different time. But
Right.
but it's also, yeah, I mean, like I've done my fair share of traveling, like especially when it comes down, like maybe not as much as other people have, but yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, when I went to Lethbridge for Pure Power Wrestling, it's always a 5-hour drive. You do the show, you tear down, and then all of a sudden you grab a bite to eat, and it's 5 hours back.
yeah.
Yeah.
And you're doing that, and there's like maybe a whiteout going on because of the snow. I remember with the CNWA, I did a show like the night I won that title. We do the show, we tear down, and then we're in a car and we're going down to British Columbia, and we're driving through a whiteout on the highway to like getting to BC, like all the way down there. And we had just did a show at Red Deer the night before and before. That was in Calgary, and then and then there was a month where I think I did 21 shows in that month. And
Jeez, that's a lot of travel.
It was nice because I was able to pay bills, my mortgage at that time I paid through wrestling. That was a pretty proud month.
Right.
But it was one of those things where you're just always on the go. You're doing the loops. You're doing your spot shows every time, but at the same time you're getting a lot of experience. At the same time you're getting to try stuff out, or maybe you're just getting that you're working the same guy, so you're getting those reps and you're getting that continuity. And so when it comes to a bigger show that you guys are setting up for, you don't have to worry about trying stuff out. You're already knowing what works and what doesn't. You can just put it all together and then have that epic match. But I mean, it's all relative, because really when you get your experience or that confidence when you wrestle, and there's what you think is confidence,
Yeah.
and then there's real confidence.
Yeah.
And Johnny Devine helped me get my real confidence, and I'm always debt to him, because what's amazing is that it was validated through a Cauliflower Alley Club one year where he found out who he was going to wrestle. He was just known who chops the shit out of you all the time. And he's like, I don't want to get hurt. I just want to work. I want to show people what wrestling is. I'd rather work somebody like you who could do that with me, instead of just going out there and doing that stuff. And it was like, tell me you brought your gear. And I said, nope, but I have beer. Because I'm not going to lie, I went there solely to drink and only drink. And boy, did I ever. But it was also one of those validations when you see a guy who is a former X Division champion. He's a former TNA wrestler. He was a British Commonwealth champion, the same title Owen Hart once held.
Yeah.
And that guy's like, I want to do this. I want to do something that showcases pure wrestling. I want to do it with
Yeah.
somebody like you who knows how. That was the validation I needed. And at that point on, there was.
Yeah.
I did not need people to tell me I did not know how to work when a guy like Johnny Devine flat out tells me I can.
Yeah, that's definitely an ego boost. Yeah, your confidence gets boosted. Not only that, but you also start to carry yourself different too.
Mm-hmm.
Like you got that because you got that confidence. You know, like you said, you don't need dude in the corner that bitches about everything, telling you, "Oh yeah, dude, that's cool. You're a good wrestler."
Well, it
You
just
don't need that.
what it did for me personally was just clear up a lot of unknown cloudiness that I in my head was thinking about, whether it was situations, companies, bookers, stuff like that, because now all of a sudden I'm starting to see things in a different way.
Right.
And because of that, I'm now understanding, okay, oh, I'm here and they need me to be here. I now see what I have to do. I now see what they're trying to tell me. I understand that because all these little pieces of information are starting to click and just make sense, right? Like,
Yep.
you have a 1,000-piece puzzle, and you're eventually going to figure out how to put it together if you put in enough time and enough effort.
Right.
And that is no different from advice and just life lessons, because when you take that enough time and you put in enough work that it's required, you will see that eventually. It may take a lot of time. It may take no time at all, but eventually it will happen.
Once it clicks, eh?
Yeah, I mean, I remember my first show. Like, I left that match as the manager and the heel manager with a fuck ton of confidence, and I had to come back out later on that night to do another spot where all the heels and all the baby faces were going to get into a brawl, and I'm like, okay, how can I care? Paul Wright was one of the wrestlers on the card, and he's like, okay, you got that heat now. Bottle that heat and keep it inside you for when you go back out later tonight, and use that to your advantage. And I totally did, you know.
That's good though, because you listened to what was being said to you. Good job. I know we have like 7 people in here. If you guys want to chit chat, by all means, throw your comment in the wonderful little box over there, and we will reply to you and answer your questions. Anything and everything. This is the Boar's Nest open mic night, which has no commercials.
That same show, I also had Deuce Diamond giving me advice too. And of course, when Deuce Diamond's telling you stuff, you listen to him.
Yeah, he was definitely a guy that you were like, yeah, okay, I acknowledge and respect what you're saying to me. So
Yeah.
I'm going to take it in, digest it, and bring out what was needed.
Yeah. Now he has a tendency of repeating some of his stories, but you still listen and take what you can from those stories, you know?
That is what happens when you get old, my friend.
Yeah.
Parrish wouldn't know shit about that, the young whippersnapper down there.
So there's this time I went to the cauliflower alley. I'm just kidding.
So back in band camp.
Yeah. So let's talk
And
about
we're
the
that
whites
old,
today.
we can reference that.
But
That's how old
Here's
we
dude,
are.
I have
when
a
it comes to
jersey from the
talking
Mighty
Deuce
Hawks,
Diamond.
all right? I have
Every time, like every time he does tell the same story. I always take something different from that story.
Because you may
maybe if you listened the first time, you'd figure it out. He's probably like, this motherfucker over here. I have to tell the same story like 100
because he's
times.
just not getting it. If I got to do it again, I'm gonna just lose it.
Look, he's like,
I couldn't see him doing that.
and then he just keeps
he's a very
lagging
patient
and
guy.
no, I'm just kidding.
Right? Lag and just can't get his shit together.
Imagine
Bubba-
if like how we are on stream is exactly how we are in real life.
Yeah.
Like I'm just being like a complete dick and nobody can understand half the sarcasm I say.
Right, because we're not sure if you're being for real or not.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
like best you're just about to speak and then you just start lagging in like a real life conversation and we're just like looking at you like
Yeah, and I lagged there, and I totally forgot where I was going with what I was going to say. So
I caught Bubba.
yeah, and now I forgot what I was. No, I was going to say, Bubba, your impersonation of Deuce Diamond when he's talking about being angry, it was spot on.
Yeah, I didn't think I did a good job on that one. I didn't think anybody would get that. But no, Deuce is a great guy.
well, I don't know the guy, so I
would
don't
pick
get
his
that.
brain.
Yeah,
I would pick his brain all the time. We actually had the same idea for a character, but from two different angles. But we realized after talking about it, it was the same character. Like the mask was the same, the color of it was the same, to a T. It was this, but just from two different angles. And I'll never forget that because he actually debuted said character the next week in an SAW show. It was great. I wonder if Chris Best is back.
I am.
From-
I'm trying to remember his masked character's name. He told me it a week ago, and it's
I
almost
can't
been
remember.
it's almost been like 10 years since I've seen him play the character.
Yeah, give or take. It was 2012 that he debuted that character. Yeah, it was 2012 because 2000 no, maybe 15 or 16, maybe. I can't remember now. I've hit my head too many times since.
Like literally, the last time I saw him play that character was 2014, and it was
yeah, so maybe
it
that's
was
when
it was the birthday show for the owner, even though it was held on my birthday.
whatever.
Yeah,
I don't think he knew when his real birthday was anyway. But again,
yeah, true.
Parrish, how about them Oilers?
No, about them Oilers. Mhm.
We had a good conversation. Not you and I personally. I meant my coworkers and I had a great.
I'm glad I was
conversation.
replaced by other people in your life there, Bubba.
Dude, it was 6:30 in the morning. You were still sleeping.
I wouldn't be so sure about that.
Well, regardless, you should have been sleeping. I should have been sleeping, but I had to work.
Hmm.
So we literally were like, so how about them Oilers, boys?
But I mean, Parrish does have a son, so getting him at 6:30 would be no problem for him.
I know. I forget that he has a kid sometimes because he just looks so young.
Well, thank you.
You young whippersnapper.
I age myself.
Right? Like a great wine.
Yeah, Parrish does age himself with all the movie references that OMD doesn't get.
Which is, dude's older than you and I,
Yeah,
and he doesn't know half the movies.
Yeah, like when he was first born, movies haven't even started out yet. So like the fact that he doesn't get any references is amazing because he has lived through everything.
Oh my god.
I can't wait to tell him tomorrow that Stuart Skinner has more career Stanley Cup final points than Austin Matthews. It's going to be the best.
You just love ripping on him that he's a Leafs fan, eh?
Well, I mean, he's been around forever and still has not seen his team win a cup. That's pretty funny.
Ouch. Ouch.
Did-
OMD,
did-
if you are on, I apologize.
You're supposed
We
to
love
tell
you,
him,
brother.
like, if you're still on, and he'd be.
He's probably.
Coming on.
What time is it? Hold on. It's
He's probably
It's
he's probably getting
11.
dinner, and therefore he can't even go outside like a vampire.
11:23. No, he's probably in bed already. The old guy when we
You know,
started.
it's pretty bad when the
was like,
bubble
I'm tired.
bubble boy is more social than you are.
Who's Bubble Boy?
You know the bubble boy where he's like,
Oh
trapped in
shit,
the
the movie.
bubble.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I was like, ooh, you know a Bubble Boy? Dude, I want pictures because that's cool.
I think that
didn't
was
realize-
Jake Gyllenhaal.
My
right?
brain went.
That it was like one of his first movies.
It's funny that the Bubble Boy ended up becoming like the dude who figured out the Zodiac. He then was in Roadhouse, and then he was Mysterio in Spider-Man, and then
Right, like
he was also in The Day After Tomorrow. And
Yeah,
Dude,
he was
yeah.
he was the smart kid that nobody listened to.
yeah,
right.
I mean, I wouldn't either.
Irony.
He didn't even have the balls to ask the chick out.
Right.
Like you're trapped in a library or a bus station from snow, and like this chick is like, and you're just like, hey, you want to stay home? Like he didn't even have the balls to do that. Like his fucking nerd ass did no friction. Come on.
Oh, Parrish, you're killing me, bro.
I mean, it's just logic at this point.
That's why you're killing me.
I mean, if there's one thing nerds have, that is logic in their like what like way their boner thinks, because they don't know how to properly listen to it like most guys do, who just allow it to like completely take the train in a whole different direction.
Woo, woo.
All right, go, yeah, that's okay, cool. Yeah, you let the funky hat on, conductor. You go for it. Yep. Okay. Yep,
Right.
good call.
That's above my pay grade. You're the one with the fancy hat.
Yeah. You're the one making minimum wage here, you rich bastard. You make the decisions.
Right. You make a whole $1 more than me. Jesus, we are horrible people, and I can feel my gummy kicking in. I'm getting all giddy and stuff. That's funny. It's all good. I'll be all right. What was I gonna say now? Fuck.
I don't know, but I was thinking about what the next CWE show could possibly be coming here, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be the Rumble to Remember.
You know what? My kid is going to be coming with me to the next one.
That's a great show. That's a good show for her to start off with too.
Right. I got noise canceling headphones for her.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes, loud noises for a little kid, right? Might be
Right.
too much. And even for me, sometimes it's not the noise, it's the I don't know if you feel it, dude, but when they're wrestling and they take a bump, you feel it's like air hitting you, but it's like the sound wave.
Yep, I totally felt that at the last show, definitely.
And I feel that in my chest, dude. So it takes the air out of my lungs for a quick second sometimes. So I'm just like, okay, so we'll sit a little further back so we're not right at the front, but close enough that she can see what's going on and be interactive, because I want to see how she reacts to wrestling.
I was gonna suggest, like, the next the next show you do bring her to, sit over by Carl and I too, so that she still has that comfort,
That's exactly what I was thinking, because Uncle Carl, right?
Yeah.
But we watched the pay-per-view, the last one that we all did together, and she was right into it, like completely just, oh, Daddy, that had to hurt. I'm like, yeah, I bet you it did, kid. Like, that's why you don't wrestle unless you're trained like Daddy. Which, by the way, Carl Kerfeld and said trainers that helped me, thank you, appreciate. Because I went from backyard wrestling, like hardcore backyard wrestling, to getting into a ring, which I will tell you, the experience of being inside a professional wrestling ring, an actual real ring and not a made up one, it was something different. It was a completely different experience for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even Carl was like, just let me know when you're ready to get started. I'll just sit over here. And I'm kind of looking at him going, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, why do I need to why? But when I got into the ring, I was like, dude, thank you for giving me just a couple minutes to get back inside my body because I had that out of body experience when I got into the ring. And I just stood there and looked. I'm like, dude, I'm inside an actual wrestling ring, like a real live wrestling ring. And I could hear the fans, I could hear people cheering and booing. And in my head, I could hear music and just all the lights and everything as a professional that you actually get to do.
Yeah.
So I could feel it and I could hear it and see, obviously not physically see, but like in my mind, I could see an opponent standing across the ring from me, a referee. I seen all that. And it's surreal. So Carl gave me that minute to soak that in and see what that emotionally felt like. And now he's like, okay, now you're ready. Let's train to get to that point. Like what a better set of words to say to somebody that is literally greener than the green shirt in the back that Parrish has there. You know, like
I don't
I
have a
knew
green shirt. There is no green shirt
what,
back here. That is wrestling gear.
oh, it's your wrestling gear. It looked like a shirt, bro.
It's literally the gear that both myself and Son of Irish had on when we won the tag titles.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's cool. A little bit of history right there. But yeah, I really appreciated that whole him letting me have that moment. And then saying, okay, what you just seen, bro, you know, I've seen that. So let's get serious about training and let's get to that point then. And I eventually did.
Too right now.
What?
The way I put my gear back, if you look at it, like the lines are almost
the lines match up
right up against each other. Like almost
holy
perfect.
Back here, from here, it looks identical. Wow, dude.
Yeah, I even zoomed in and I'm like, that wasn't even.
But yeah, no. Purpose. So I did get to that point. It was amazing. It was a rush. It was everything that I imagined it to be. I don't know about you, Best. Well, how did you when you first stepped foot?
I'm literally replaying that moment in my head right now because the moment goes like I'm standing at ringside. I'm doing my Diesel thing, standing there like fucking looking really stoic, and the fans like in my area were wondering like, who is this dude? Like, why is this big guy there? And then I get in there, I yank Big Daddy T out of the ring because he was the special referee, and he's a big dude, so he was a little bit hard to yank out.
That's what she said.
Anyways, I pull him out of the ring. I ram his head up against the post, and I don't even remember. Like I slid into the ring, and I don't even remember my first offensive attack on the guy that I was against. I think I might have like because it was just like I'm in that moment, and it was just tunnel vision. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And then
I don't remember my first match.
What snapped me out of it was hearing Sean Blaze's mom yelling out in the crowd because I told her to boo me that night.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I'm like, oh yeah, okay, I got to be a heel. So I remember grabbing it was CP Morgan and Mr. Business. I was managing Mr. Business.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
What a name.
And I grab.
I think I know who he really is.
Yeah.
Just because that offer.
Yeah. But I grab him. I grab CP Morgan. I punch him a few times, got him up against the ropes, and I yell for Mr. Business. And I look over because I was trying to get him in to do a double team maneuver, and I see Mr. Business going like, no, this is your moment. Do this, you know. And I'm like, okay. So I went with it. I Irish whipped him, got him in a clothesline, mounted and punched him until Big Daddy T got back in the ring. And then I took 3 shots from him and got knocked out of the ring. And he claims that Big Daddy T said apologizes afterwards. He's like, sorry for stiffing you out there. And I'm like, you stiffed me? Because I didn't feel a thing when he hit me, you know? Yeah.
That explains the brain damage. There we go. There we go.
Wow. We do like each other, people.
Yeah.
Let's just be honest.
We're wrestlers. Of course we rib each other.
Well,
Yeah.
we're people. We rip each other. Wrestling just adds the extra little bit of fun to it. But
I mean, if you can't take okay,
right,
there's a right way to rib, bad way to rib. Guaranteed. I get it. However,
there is when it breaks, it's bad.
Yeah. But it wasn't until like maybe 20
If,
minutes
like, you're-
after that match when I'm in the back, right? I feel like chunks of my teeth getting spit out. I'm like, okay, he did stiff me a little bit.
You know when you stiff somebody.
Yeah.
You know, it's not something that generally happens by accident. Generally, it's because you did something stupid.
Yeah.
And now I'm correcting said stupid.
Yeah.
Because
no,
when you get stiffed after
Yeah.
stiffing somebody by mistake, you know.
Yeah.
That's
But
why
that's why he apologized, because it was purely an accident. So
yeah, of course, you know, and if the person hits you back, well, then it's done. You don't have to say shit about it.
yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, literally, you can't stop in the middle of your match and go, "Oh, well, sorry, bro. How's your teeth?" Like,
Yeah.
you got to keep going. And if that other person, like, if you would have hit him back, guaranteed he still would have apologized, because the punch back was just in reply to what just happened.
Yeah.
Like, I've on purpose punched somebody in the teeth, and yeah, they shattered the two front ones because I hit him from below and his jaw clicked. His teeth clicked together, and he lost the two front ones. Like, they were just sticking out of the gums. What was left of his teeth. I'm like, and then he kicked me square in the nuts. I still went and apologized for breaking his teeth, because I screwed up. He didn't screw up. He was just reacting to my stupidity.
Really, kicking people in the nuts is not.
No, because I punched him for real and clicked his teeth, and then he wasn't supposed to kick me in the balls to get me down, but that's what he chose to do because I broke his teeth. But
so
regardless,
it's not what you're supposed to do, but it's what he chose to do.
Yeah, he was supposed to punch me back, and he just
sounds like an
kicked me
accident completely.
No, I meant to punch him, but yeah, the next move in our set wasn't a kick in the nuts.
I know why he kicked you in the balls. Totally meant to punch him in the mouth.
I did. I punched him as hard as I
Just-
could on purpose. He was one of those
having
stiff
fun with the situation.
workers. Yeah, it did. Yeah. Sorry, I'm buzzing right now. I'm feeling pretty good. But does Chris Parrish remember his first time in a professional wrestling ring?
I do.
And
it was
how
a
you
tag
felt?
match. Yeah, it was like, whoa.
Right?
This is the funny thing. It feels like the first time you have sex. In a way, you're just like, oh my god, I did it.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's
I
like,
never
oh my
thought
God.
of it.
Yeah.
Like you picture it so many times before, and you wonder if you're going to be any good, and then you look back at it and you're like, wow, I can't believe that it was so quick and I was that bad. But yeah, but no, like I remember it was 100%. But yeah, no, it was a tag match with myself, with the Sicilian Assassin El Nino, and we're against Bobby Sharp and Chris Knight. And yeah, I remember that I took the pin off Bobby Sharp, and I remember that afterwards, because it was like a camp show that we had, because our camping grounds was kind of like it was like almost it looked like a garage, but it had it was one of those industrial offices, because like you go in, and then there's like your kind of foyer, and then all of a sudden there's a middle little area that's enclosed. That's kind of where there's a bathroom, like some doors and stuff like that. And then there's another door that opens up, and then there's a gigantic space. Sometimes there'd be like a car garage where, you know, they're doing mechanical work or whatever.
Oh,
We
okay.
just happen to have a wrestling ring, and that's where we trained. And then there was a garage door on the other side, and they'd open that up, and then people would come and bring chairs and just sit there and watch. The show was free, and it was just a way for the people who train to get a show.
Nice.
And then every month they would do a show at a different venue. That's where you get paid. That's where you would have the larger audiences.
Yeah.
These are more smaller shows. And I remember this kid afterwards coming up to me, and he's like, "Hey, can I get your autograph?" I'm like, "Why?" I'm like, "I suck." And then he just looked at me confused. And it was kind of then I realized, it's like, holy shit, like when I went to a show and I asked somebody for the autograph, and maybe it was like a glorified jobber like Barry Horowitz or whatever, they're still like, yeah, sure. What? Because like they know that we're looking at them as well than life. I didn't have that same mentality at the time because I'm just a kid having its first match, not realizing what I was. I didn't realize it, like, because I had no idea how to work the crowd. I had no idea my timing and stuff like that.
He just went out there and shot your pants and did what
just
you
went
did to
out there, we
survive.
did it. I'm just trying to remember spots at this point and knowing to bump properly, let alone anything else. Because my first match was, I think, like 3.5 months after I started training.
Holy. Wow.
It helped being an athlete. You kind of picked up on a lot of stuff. But, and then I also did amateur wrestling in high school and junior high. So that kind of like allowed me to pick up things. So I had that going for me. But yeah, but then it was like I felt so bad. Like it's to this day, like I still remember that. I remember that more so than match. I remember like the hot tag and all that stuff. I remember the first move I did was a headlock takedown. That's right. Chain wrestling, motherfuckers.
Not to toot his own horn, but toot.
Not to toot my own horn, but I shat out there. No.
Right?
No. It was one of those things where, you're just like a lost deer with absolutely no headlights because you're just trying to find your way to a headlight. That's like, kind of how. So.
It is.
I mean, it was fun. Like I remember, like my first year, I think I didn't win a single match, but it also was fun too because like for the first 3 months prior, for sure, first 3 months I was a referee as I was training, and I'm being thrown in in matches with a lot of the vets, so I'm watching what they're doing as well, and then I would ask them why they do things and stuff like that.
Yep.
And I'd also have the vets fucking pranking me and ribbing me as a ref and stuff like that. And then I remember I had the confidence to rip back near the end because you got so used to a situation. But then I'd work that person like 4 months later, and I don't have the confidence to do that. And
nothing. Remember the scared
like,
little kid that you first met? Wait, yeah, that's me again. And I just wet my pants. Like,
so no, like it was pretty surreal. Like I even remember the day like I won my first championship. That was awesome. It was it was the result of a situation that went like horribly wrong because it was a 1-day tournament to crown a new champion. Wow. And there was 8 people, and I was legit the 7th person on the list. So like if they had a plan with somebody and then he couldn't stay the whole day, so they went with the other guy. The other guy said, I'm not going to be able to make the next couple shows, so they didn't go with him. The third guy basically said this was going to be his last show, so they didn't go with him. And they just went down the line. They're like, oh, we're going to put it on him. And I'm like, yay, I'm going over.
That was the happiest moment in your life.
And I won my first title with the same move that Spanky does. The sliced bread number 2.
It's a fantastic move.
Wow.
And
So-
then later in my life, I was once a part of Brian Kendrick's Twitter avatar because it was a photo taken from us talking at Cauliflower Alley. And it was that photo that made me realize, holy shit, I'm about the same size as Brian Kendrick. And I remember the graphic where it said WWE champion the Brian Kendrick during the scramble match. And I'm just like, I'm the same size as that motherfucker.
Oh, that's great. Whoa.
What are you going to say, Bess?
Yeah, I was going to ask you guys, in your first few months of being in the ring, was there a spot that you were afraid to take?
All of them.
No. So here's something that I didn't know. So my first big show, I wrestled a guy by the name of Phil LaFawn in a tag match. I didn't know I took basically a butterfly sit down power bomb. He just told me, oh, when I hook your arms, flip bump, kid. So he hooks my arm. He's like, flip bump, kid. So I just do a jumping flip bump, right? And then he did the rest. Fast forward that, all these years later, the first time I wrestled, son of Irish, he was 13 years old. I said that exact phrase to him because I threw him in the corner. I told him to take the bump and work out, and then I was going to run at him, grab him, and overhead belly to belly. And I'm just like, jumping flip bump, kid.
That's
So
yeah.
So for me, the spot I was always afraid of to take up, and this is coming from a guy who's a giant, but going over the top rope terrified the hell out of me.
Well,
So have you guys ever seen the clip of the big guy who failed going over the top rope?
I don't think so.
There was a show where he went to go, he's a bigger guy, he goes to do the whole step over, and then when he does the other one, he loses his balance and just flips. It was on Taj.0 too.
Wow,
Anyway.
no, I missed it.
I
know
have
this
seen
guy
that on
very
Botchamania.
You know
If
the
you've-
guy?
Guys, if you've ever seen Colossal Cravings, that's the same guy.
Yeah.
This guy and I were friends. The best part is right before COVID happened. You're gonna love this story. We're at a bar right before everything shut down, and it was for my birthday. Because my birthday was March 11th, or it's March 11th.
Oh, wow.
And everything shut down on March 13th. And he was there, and my wife, who doesn't really ever go out to shows or knows very well, one of the guys is like, okay, so Parrish actually has a wife. And then I was like, yeah. And then my wife's like, who's this guy? I'm like, do you remember the guy who fell out of the ring trying to go over? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, Andre, meet my wife. And then yeah.
Oh, geez.
And then I leave. As soon as I do that, I leave to go to the bathroom, and all of a sudden you just hear like a good 5-6 seconds later, it was just delayed. Fuck you, Parrish.
That's great. No, I think my biggest, scariest move, you got to think about that one. Because I love jumping over the rope. That was just kind of my,
Yeah,
norm for me.
my problem with taking that top rope bump was the first time I was practicing it, instead of looking straight ahead and going over, I made the mistake of standing at the rope and looking straight down before I went over.
Well,
So I saw the height of the ring, from
Yes.
the height of where my head is standing up.
8 foot in the fucking air compared to me.
Yeah.
I wasn't a big fan of having to stay up on the top rope. I didn't have the greatest balance.
Yeah.
I also had pretty quick feet. They called it happy feet when I was younger. And so it took me a while to kind of just slow my body movement and like manipulate my body in that way. So like
Oh, yeah?
I didn't like having that delayed top rope thing. So there are times where I would just like really poach like a freaking eagle on there instead of standing up because I had no
Wow.
confidence in myself.
Wow. And what's it like today? If when you get in the ring, if you got to stand up there?
Yeah, now I have this thing called a beer belly, so I do the same thing. Because gravity, right? It's just gonna fuck. It's just gonna roll.
So the guy falling over the top rope as he's going in, big tall ball.
That's legit.
Guy, right? Right there.
I did not hear a single thing you said because you lag and I'm laughing at Papa's reaction.
Yeah. No, the guy that fell going into the ring, big tall bald guy, right?
Yes.
Oh God.
Okay, I found the video.
Yeah.
Because he's trying to get in the ring, and there's a dude who looks like a fat Tommaso Ciampa standing in the ring.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Dude, I am too high for that shit. Holy fuck.
Hey, you asked. You probably just didn't expect an honest answer that was flat out funny.
Oh my God. That was great, dude.
Hey, when you get older, you learn of things that you can't do, so you just don't do it.
No, it just, that's 100% not a lie. I'm the same way. Yeah, no, that hurt the last time I did it. Let's not do that.
Yeah. Sometimes when you wise up, it's not so much what you know how to do, it's what you shouldn't do and actually not do it.
And that's standing your big ass up on top of the turnbuckle. And your belly is so big you're just getting pulled over. You're like, this isn't gonna work.
And not to mention, the last thing I'd ever want to do is stand up, yeah, and I'm like, whoa,
right, you fall backwards,
whoa, and then just kill myself. That's not what I want to do.
You get that the post in the middle of your back. Now there goes my kidney.
No, I feel I'll clear that and then just take the whole thing. Yeah, I have. I mean, and so I've wrestled on companies where they've had mats on, and a lot of the times it's those amateur wrestling mats, right, or those gym mats.
Yep,
those really thick blue ones that they're fine if you just flat out fall from a standing position, but they're not meant for you. Being back body dropped on, which we had one where some of the guys are like, yeah, I have no problem bumping on this. And I was like, all right, I trust you because, I like to bump. So I legit did a back body drop. Or I called one of them. It was actually a match where I won the PPW heavyweight title. And I said, I'm going to go for a power bomb. And yeah, you're going to try to go. We're going to do it. And then I'm going to outsmart it by flipping over, duck my line, and then I'll turn back, run, and you still do it. So we create a little bit of a story on there, right?
Nice.
Yeah, I winded myself great off that one. I did that, but feel that one.
Yep.
I'll never forget going through training. Diego wanted me to take back bumps off the top rope, and Vinny was standing there, and he goes to Diego. He's like, "Look at the size of this dude. Do you think he's ever going to go on that top rope?" No, it's not happening.
No. That's too funny. I've done some pretty stupid stuff in the ring, so it's like I don't know how to pick anything that I'm necessarily scared of, or just it ain't happening. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think I was scared of things. It was just more of I don't trust myself on doing this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know doing that it's gonna hurt a lot. I don't know if I want to do that.
I mean, I was
probably gonna break my neck.
I was in like a quote unquote an unsanctioned tag match, and I was beating up on a guy outside, and I realized where the two guys were in the ring, the guy that I'm beating up on needs to be in the ring in like less than 15 seconds.
Right.
So these guys have steel steps, right? So I just put him on there. And I say, when I jump, you roll and you go into the ring. And there you go. So I get up on the apron and I run and I do that big Bubba Ray like back bump that you always do. And I do it right on the steel steps. And I'm like, instant regret, right?
There's no give.
Absolutely not. And then like your top back or part of your back, like the blades, yeah, they bump fine on like the top part of it, right? But then your middle of your back is getting like the space between, like on that step, and then your lower back is taking that edge, and then your tailbone is taking that other space. It just is a lot of why. Why was that? Why of all things I decided to do that to myself? But it was like we needed
It's
something.
so true. You're like, why in name of Almighty did I even think this was an option?
And one of the things I love doing, and I do this regardless of babyface or heels, is I love saying things that can make the first few rows pop when I sell outside. And then I do that one, and if anybody knows the movie Rookie of the Year, I do that, and I look, I'm like, holy mother, butt loving.
Yeah. Mine was Fuzzy Pickles. I would be like, oh my good Fuzzy Pickle, that hurt.
Mine was grumbling like Joe Pesci in Home Alone.
I didn't have like one go-to things I said. I just well, you guys know me. I just come up with stupid stuff.
Oh yeah, you come up with some really stupid shit.
Yeah.
I did the Peter Griffin knee grab one time.
I remember like I took a bump on the outside, and there was like a bunch of like, I don't know if it was like a birthday party, or because I don't think one of them was getting married, so I don't think it was a stagette, but it could have been. But it was something like that. So there's a bunch of girls there, right? And I take a bump, and I'm just like, oh my God, is my dick too small for bumps like this?
Oh, Jesus. That would have got them, yeah.
Oh, it's not what they expected at all.
No. Completely out of left field. They're just like, did we really just hear that shit?
Well, and then I'm pretty sure one of the girls is like, I was not expecting that. I'm like, yep. And I didn't have to pay $80 a drinks to get you to say that either.
That's great, dude.
So like it was, yeah. But then all of a sudden, one of the guys are like, if I'm a baby face and I'm out, some like I get like where I was in a fatal 4-way. It was an elimination. So I'm getting like beat out like right at the beginning, right? Like, you know, that spot in the Triple H Cena Shawn Michaels thing where Triple H just gets super kicked and he's selling outside to start the match.
Yeah.
Well, that's me for like the first 6 minutes. And one of the kids like, you should get in there and do something. And I was like, that's a great idea. And one of the guys like, yeah, because you're not doing that at all. I'm like, really? Wicked. I'm like, thank you, Captain Obvious. I am so happy. You have assumed the obvious on that one, because it's not like I'm trying to get in the ring and do what I just am super passionate about. I'm like, I appreciate that. I'm like, little kid, what should I do? It's like, try this. I'm like, okay. So I do that because the next spot was me actually getting up.
Yeah.
So I just did exactly what he would say, what he said. And then in that same match, there was like one guy was eliminated, and the other two guys were like going over to go to the stage, and I'm just like kind of there, So I felt like that Michelle Tanner where I was like slowly running. I'm like, wait for me,
Right?
kind of a deal. And then I'm there, and somebody had a fanny pack on there, and I'm just like, huh. So I thought I'd just go and check to see what's in the fanny pack because that's everybody wants to know that, right? And I see a
Right.
marker, so I mark and I just go and I just sign a bunch of kids, it's like stuff, whatever. And now that's my audience, right? Like I'm very aware of what
Right,
my audience
yeah.
is. So I do that, and then I'm like, what should I do? They're like, you should go out there and fight them only when you're ready, though, because you should just let them beat each other up and then take advantage. And I was like, this kid,
Yeah, he knows.
you're gonna go places.
Right. Oh my goodness. It's
And it
midnight,
was like
Bray.
well, for you.
I'm gonna call it because I'm getting
It's Ty
tired.
Dillinger over here.
It's shut up. I got the reference. That's why I went smart ass. I see kitty tail.
Yeah, she's getting a pet. She's
Dude, why do you gotta mess with me?
see. This is why I wait till after Parrish and I are done talking to go and get high.
I had back pain so bad. I almost didn't come on here.
Yeah,
I was cuddling, and that's all we were doing was cuddling. And with the little lady, and I went to roll to get out of bed, and I pinched a nerve in my back so bad she had to like basically lift me out of bed. And even then, she still had to hold me because my leg wouldn't work. It was brutal. So I took a special gummy because Daddy want to sleep tonight, and I'm getting tired. And I'm like, it's a motherfucker. I'm going to bed. Good night, y'all.